Hello class, welcome to lesson 8. This week we are focusing on information literacy. This basically means that by the end of this lesson you will be able to judge whether you should use an article in a professional paper, if you should use it when you're writing a research paper in future classes, which you will be doing in your English class. I think that will be next semester for a lot of you. So this is a lot of really useful information. I first want to show you around the lesson material and quiz because there's a couple of confusing instructions in here that I want to clear up. Once it loads. There we go. So we will be watching two videos. They are both made by a current librarian at BYU Idaho, so kind of cool that you get to hear from him. So we've got this video, and if you don't like watching, if that's too slow for you, you've got the text of the presentation right here and you can read through it if that's easier for you. So in this first video, he talks about how to use search terms to narrow down your results. And this is really good information, and he talks about Boolean operators using and or and other operators. And while these work in most professional search engines, I want to let you know that they aren't all active in Google search engine. And since that's what a lot of us use, I wanted to make sure you knew that. So what he says here will apply to all of the search engines you will use as a BYU Idaho student in the future, or as a student of any other university when they let you into their professional search engines like ProQuest and JSTOR and other online archives of professional documents. These search tips will be spot on for that. For Google, they have different search references. So I will post this link in the announcements under this video. And here it tells you how to narrow a search on a Google search. So using the same principles that he will teach you in this video, I would recommend using these search terms. It talks about using @ and hashtags for different searches. And it looks like it does support the Boolean operator OR, which he talks about in that video, so that's good. That one will work. You can use dots to indicate a range, and there's a couple other things here. So use these if you're searching in Google, but if you're searching in a more professional search engine, use the Boolean operators that he will tell you about here. Okay, so just wanted to clear that up. Besides that, you will also be asked to spend at least 20 minutes exploring this Study Skills website. And when you click into this Study Skills website, it will have several different options you can click on. This one requires a BYU Idaho login, which you do not yet have as Pathway students. You are Pathway students, not yet BYU Idaho students. So don't try to click this one, don't try to click this one. I would recommend clicking the study tips. This will lead you into the website further, and you can look at the study tips here. You can also come over here to the sidebar and look at the things it wants you to look at. Study skill videos, study tips, study skills courses, workshops, and those are all listed here. We've got the study skill videos here, we've got the courses and workshops here. So we've got lots of different options here that you can explore even without that BYU Idaho login. Okay, so there's the lesson material. Make sure you're looking through it. This is really good information, especially for that English class that you'll be taking later, and for any other future classes or jobs that you might have that want you to write a more professional paper. So yeah, it should be good. Now let's jump over to the application activity. Let's go look at the instructions. So for our application activity this week, we're doing something a little different. We are evaluating an article, which is fun because we get to actually apply what we're learning, which is the point of the application activities. So I guess that makes sense. So all you need to do is go to DeseretNews.com, which it's got the link right there, and then as it says here, it wants you to search for any topic discussed in an earlier lesson. So you could look up decision making, goal setting, career choosing, leadership skills from being a disciple leader. Any of those past topics that we've looked at, you could come search for here to learn more about. It doesn't really matter what the topic is. We mostly just want to get an article to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and just put goal setting and see what pops up. Might take a minute to load. There we go. And you'll see a whole bunch of ads first. Go ahead and just skip those. And then you'll see these different articles listed here. So since we're evaluating for a more scholarly article, I think I'm going to try and choose an article with a more scholarly sounding title. So I might pick this one, How Writing Down Life Goals Helps Students Boost Their Semester ... grades. Good ending. And all that you need to do, if we go back here, well, you will be answering the template. All you need to do is read through the article, and then you will summarize it and respond to it and then evaluate it. So here for the summary, I want to make sure you know what a summary is, because I've had a lot of students in the past just not know how to write a summary. They just hadn't been asked to do that for a while. So a summary is where you tell me what the article says. This isn't where you put in your own opinions or your own thoughts. It's just about letting me know what the article says. So it might sound like, in the article, whatever the title is, the author talks about how to set goals. He talks about, and you'd want to list all of the main points that you read about in here. So I haven't read through this article yet, but I'd want to make sure that I would mention all the main points that the author covers. A summary should end up being about 4 or 5 sentences long, so it doesn't need to be very long, but long enough to make sure your reader knows what the author is actually focusing on. Okay? So just tell me what the author talked about, and you should be good. And then you will write your own response to the concepts. And this is just to let you think about the article. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you agree with the concepts? Did you not? And go ahead and just write a couple of sentences about how you felt about the article. Okay? And then you will go into analyzing the article. So you'll tell me what the author's name is, and you can always find the author's name at the top of the article. If you can't find the author's name, that's already a red flag. That means it's just kind of spat out by a group of writers. So what is the author's name? And then you will need to do your own Google search to figure out the level of education the author has. And this is part of you seeing, is this author qualified to talk about this topic? So here, I would go and find the author's name, Eric Schultz, however you pronounce that, I'm not sure. Oops. See if I can highlight it without clicking the link. I would copy his name into a search tab, and I do use Google, so I would just enter his name in. And it looks like he's a professor. That's fun, so I could look at his Rate My Professor. And it looks like he's got his own page at Deseret News, which I think you can also get to just by clicking the name, but I've seen some authors not have a full page on their Deseret News link. So if you don't find anything about them here, go back to Google and try and search for the information yourself, okay? It's like a treasure hunt. And here it tells me the information. It tells me his degrees, excuse me, and other things. So I would go through and answer all the questions about the author, and then answer, does he seem like an authority on this topic? Is he qualified for this topic? Not is he a really cool guy, but is he qualified for what he's writing about? And then you'd answer these questions about the article. What type of publication did you find the article? I think this question might be outdated. Go ahead and just write it's an online news source, because it's Deseret News. It's online news. Unless you follow a link outside of Deseret News, in which case tell me where you found it. Who's the intended audience? That will change the way the material is presented. What year was the article published? We'll talk about how important that is in the lesson material. Does it require current information? Is the information in the article biased? Is the author slanting things or ridiculing things? Is he bringing in emotions to sway to a different side? Are things being biased at all? And then based on these questions, would you use this article in a college level research paper? Is it a reliable source? Is it a reliable article for writing a researched college paper? Okay, so not is this a good article to share on your Facebook or on your blog, because, well, we share all sorts of ideas through Facebook and blogs. So we're not asking if you liked the article, we're asking, is it well researched enough to be used in a research paper? Does it have the credentials it needs to be considered for an academic paper? So there you go. There's this week of analyzing articles and making sure we know how to find reliable sources. It should be very useful. Let me know if you have any questions.